Yo, welcome everyone to another episode of Weird Growth, the podcast where we hear about the strange and often unpredictable journeys that founders take. This episode, we have Matt Shales, founder of pharmaceutical company Medicann Health, which operates medicinal cannabis brands like Marley, Hemp Brothers, and Endoscent. Welcome, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us on Weird Growth, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Please introduce yourself. How did you come to do what you do?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So I'm Matt Shales. Always been passionate about cannabis for about a decade or so. Really intrigued by the cannabis plant and the potential benefits it can hold. So I was an early consumer myself, and then just noticed remarkable benefits within my body, and kind of wanted to explore this a bit further. And then, I guess my overactive mind did that for me, and I started looking into the plant and started noticing all the different components there were to it, and the list of benefits was quite endless. So luckily in 2016, a change of law allowed this kind of passion to turn into a career.
Yeah, mate. Can't wait to get stuck into the story about how that's all come about and where you're at today. But before we get stuck into the story, I have a little pop quiz for you.
Yep.
If you were to start a new business today from scratch, separate from what you're doing now, what would you be doing and who would you be helping?
I'd be doing the same thing. Medicinal cannabis is my area, it's my passion.
Yep.
I don't know anything else. I don't really care about anything else, to be honest. I like helping people and I love cannabis, and so it's that perfect fit. Before this, I was a labourer and a commercial diver, so just an underwater labourer. It was enjoyable, but wasn't my passion. And so I won't be jumping onto the next thing later on. If I started a new company, it will be Medicann version 2.
Yeah, awesome. That's pretty interesting. So what was that like going from being an underwater labourer, so an underwater, like a diving kind of professional, and sort of making the decision to leaving that and doing something of your own? Yeah,
well, it was it kind of fit in well because through diving I had a lot of injuries, and so I had a lot of time off work with shoulder reconstructions, things like that. So it gave me a lot of spare time, I guess. And when there was that change in legislation in 2016, when it became legal, at first I was just involved in, Facebook groups about investing in cannabis companies, things like that, and just doing a little bit of, what I thought was a bit of education around that. Again, I just had all day laying in bed, not being able to work or anything, so lots of spare time. And then I started realising I kind of had a bit of knowledge in this area. I'd be watching other seminars and things like that of cannabis companies and well-regarded people around the world talking about cannabis, and I just learned that I could say that. I actually know that as well. So I started getting a bit more confident that I actually maybe belong in this industry. But it was more so just I've always had a passion for it. It was illegal, That's why I couldn't turn it into a business. So it was just, again, that luck, perfect timing, the right place, right time. 2016, I had multiple injuries, couldn't work, a bit of time to focus on something different. And there was that moment where it became a real bit a company, and I've gone, am I turning a hobby is this a hobby or is this a passion? But skip forward 5 years, it's my passion.
That's the kind of interesting thing, I guess, about the cannabis industry is it's very quickly gone from a kind of underground, clandestine, illegal product, as you say, and then in different jurisdictions around the world, you're seeing these sort of markets explode. How do you kind of reconcile that where you've got that obviously prior knowledge, but you're turning that into a legitimate business? Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I didn't realise I had the knowledge. Just things, because I stepped back a bit and realised at the moment, some people don't even realise it's legal or accessible. So just the most basic knowledge about how to access, or the most basic knowledge about letting people know there's more to cannabis than just THC, the cannabinoid that people are used to, about the recreational kind of uses that has the intoxicating effect. There's hundreds of these different cannabinoids and terpenes and all these ingredients. And so there was a little moment where I realised that, what I thought was kind of common knowledge, if people were interested in this plant, is actually quite useful information and IP, I guess. Without getting too technical, so THC is the sort of thing which people get high from, I suppose, and there's CBD, which is probably the other commonly known one. Yeah, so you get THC, CBD, two common cannabinoids, they're called. There's hundreds of others. Right. So CBC, CBG, THCV, and all the rest. And they all have medical benefits and different uses. We've still got a lot of study to do to figure out exactly what is doing what. Yeah. But when people have cannabis, even if it was just 20 years ago after a party, that had THC and other ingredients in it. And so it's these other ingredients that actually make it either sedating or energizing, or it helps with your Parkinson's, or it helps with your autism. there's different formulas for different uses. And so it's we've got to break down the plant and figure out what the formula is and what's doing what, but a long way to go because we've only just been able to start.
So the science is only just catching up. Yeah.
There's a lot of studies out there, but really broad, just about cannabis does this or THC does that, and we're missing all these other ingredients. So realistically, we don't actually know what was doing what.
Yep.
And a lot of people thought it was all about CBD, THC because they were at higher amounts, but it doesn't mean that 0.5% of, THCV isn't just as potent as 10% of something else. It's not the same molecule. So, now we can start unpacking this plant, but we haven't even discovered all the cannabinoids, let alone the cannabinoid receptors in our body yet. So, long way to go, but the best bit is the most basic products we're actually developing are still helping a lot of people. So, it's going to get better from here.
What is the main problem you're solving with Medicann?
Improving the quality of life of people in need. That's our main goal. And so in regards to an actual ailment, it's a very long list. So pain, sleep, anxiety are three of the main areas that medicinal cannabis can help with. And those symptoms are almost symptoms of every condition, really. So if we're looking at things like autism, it's helping with sleep, anxiety, agitation, things like that. Or if it's Parkinson's, we're looking at the movement or the tremor. And again, helping with pain, things like that as well. So we're not curing Parkinson's, just helping helping the symptoms, improving quality of life. And the best bit is getting them off all these other medications, reduces the side effects. That's the worst thing at the moment. It's actually one of the a big reason that I felt obliged to get into this industry was 65% of all drug deaths in Australia right now are from sleeping tablets and painkillers.
Really?
It's including heroin, crack, all the nonsense on the street. It's from what the doctor's giving us.
Yeah, wow.
And it's not people you see on the street, addicts or anything like that. It's people like my grandma or someone's auntie or uncle, whatever, just doing what the doctor said, having the medicine, having some wine, maybe forgetting they had the sleeping tablet, have another one, and they don't wake up.
Yeah.
And that's worst case scenario, but even the people that are getting through it okay, there's still horrible side effects, addiction risks, things like that. And so once learning that 65% of our drug deaths are from what the doctor's handing us, I felt this could be done a bit better. Then cannabis was legalised, other cannabis companies had a go at it, and then I felt obliged to because early on the companies were more focused on their pay packet, it seemed, before actually making a product that could help anyone. And so I just felt, no, let's utilise my knowledge on cannabinoids, terpenes, and try and do this in a more compassionate way and actually help people.
Yeah, good on you. How did you reach your very first customers?
Our first patients, interestingly, I guess we've got a few areas. So I'll break it down a bit. With Medicann Health, we've got our medicinal cannabis offerings through our brands Marley and also Ananda, that we import their medicine from the US and supply it.
Okay.
We've also got our over-the-counter offerings, so hemp foods such as hemp seed, hemp flour, hemp protein. Then our wellness range, so hemp seed oil capsules, things like that, and terpene oils. So we had a few things like that going on early on. Our first customers were through the over-the-counter products because it was obviously less regulation around that. We could just get that going right away. And at the same time as developing those products and getting some revenue, we're getting all the medicinal side sorted.
Yeah. So what does over-the-counter products mean? Is that something you can just sell online?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Just foods, drinks, nutraceuticals, things like that. So anything that you don't need a prescription, just available over the counter.
So it's not like an FDA approval process sort of thing. And so is that what you did? You had an online store, or did you have a shop?
Yep. So through Hemp Brothers had our online store there.
Yep.
And so early on, I started Hemp Brothers with $50.
Really?
Yeah. A mate came around. He was a salesman and he was looking for a new gig. And then at that time, I was just focusing on Medicann Health. And then there's lots of links within the industry, with the hemp food side, it's still around cannabis, but, different industry. And so I asked a friend over East who had a pet company selling hemp products, just saying, do you need any help in WA? And I really meant share a Facebook post. Yeah. And he said, we need distribution.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, 1 second. We made Hemp Brothers. And
then
we got exclusive rights to that range in WA. But then actually stepped back a bit. So I said to my mate, should we have a go at selling this? And he goes, yeah, all right. So we had $50. We went to the casino and we had to win our first lot of money to buy the first bit of product. And so we won. We won $500. And then we bought $500 worth of hemp seed oil for dogs. Yeah. Got it into some stockists. And then they sold it. Bought the next lot of product with
What did you win $500 on at the casino?
A little bit of everything. Roulette, blackjack. First time I've actually ever won, but no. It's, and that's literally what it was. It was very, very self-funded like that. I've never had a loan or anything. I'm scared of debt, and so all very much self-funded like that. And then so that was the Hemp Brothers side, the food. Just first bit of product, got some stockists, sold it, bought more product. Then Medicann, we did get started with a bit of investment, so we got a $50,000 investment just for the first lot of product again. Yep. Sell it and use the revenue to keep going. very, very low overheads with us. The kitchen bench is our office still to today, actually, at my house.
Love it.
Post this raise, we'll obviously be able to get an office, but very, very lean, and that's what's helped us to be able to actually keep the prices down with our products. That was the biggest area of the biggest issue in the medicinal cannabis space was accessibility around cost. The products were very expensive, and the consult with the doctor was very expensive. So my main focus there is to bring affordable and reliable products to the market. So we did that. We've got some of the most affordable medicines. Then we opened Medicann Clinics, which is one of the most affordable clinics in the country. But yeah, so all about affordability, but yeah, just eased into it. Slow and steady is my approach. It's not a race, I don't think. It's a brand new industry. We've got a long way to go.
A lot of learning to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
What does it take to start a cannabis business in Australia with not the over-the-counter products, but the actual medicinal products? What's the sort of process?
So with the medicinal side, I guess you've got to first find, there's a few ways around it. One, you can get your own cultivation and manufacturing licenses. That's around a $5 to $10 million process and many years to get licensed. So we're actually avoiding that for now until the licensing system settles down a bit and we actually understand exactly what we're working in, because we could get halfway through building and then they change a rule that allows us to not need all certain security requirements or whatever. And so I'm just waiting for that to settle and figure out exactly the framework we're working in. And so for now, we just outsource everything. And so it's really about finding the right suppliers that can produce the formulas and medications you want.
Okay.
The biggest hurdle or barrier to entry right now is really about finding products that are consistent, reliable, and they can do the same product every time, because within cannabis, as we talked about earlier, there's all these different ingredients. It's not just CBD and THC, and they're all very important. And so it's very hard with a natural product like a plant to keep every single component exactly the same. But and so that's what I focus on. We're treating 3-month-old babies with epilepsy. It's not a chocolate bar we're selling. It's a medicine that's it's helping people live in some cases. So for me, it has to stay the exact same. So just finding those right partners, and then I guess getting the word out about marketing. We can't advertise medicines. It's very tricky to actually let people know we exist. So my own friends, still even early as today, I've seen my own friends going to other clinics not knowing I even exist.
Yeah. Okay. So the main barrier to entry is, so if you wanted to set up as a producer and growing and producing the product from scratch and then turning it into a medicine is a massive investment up front.
Yep.
And so you've sidestepped that by using existing products that might be in the market overseas. And then do you need a license or something like that to sell that in Australia?
Yeah, and so we've got, we import the Ananda products. That was our first partner. We partnered with EcoFiber, one of the world's largest CBD companies. And so my business partner, Luca De Prato, did his PhD for them on hemp and hemp agronomy, about growing hemp in different environments and the impact it would have on the cannabinoid profile, things like that. And so we already had a bit of a link to EcoFiber, and we had a bit of a roadblock at one stage in about 2020 with our first partner in Canada. We're about to import our first product ever. Corona hit. We couldn't import because it had to go around the world first. It would have cost about an extra 30 grand.
Oh my God.
So I'm just going, I can't do that. And then that week, we partnered up with Ananda. And so it was the best thing to ever happen to us. They are literally one of the world's largest hemp companies and doing clinical trials on almost everything. So they were really reliable, science-backed and affordable. So the perfect partner for us. Imported their product, had to get our partnerships in place for import, distribution licenses, things like that.
Okay. And is that through like a government body in Australia, like the health department?
Is through
like
the health department, Office of Drug Control, things like that. And again, we've outsourced most of those through partners. So we're partnered with Health House International.
Okay.
They were one of the first importers of cannabis in Australia, and then import to pharmacies Australia-wide overnight. And so again, we partner with them for all the distribution side of things. And so, a few things like that. But it's really, it seems harder when you read it on paper.
Yeah.
I think if you actually just get in there and do it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the perception from the outsiders is it seems like there's a lot of hoops to jump, and maybe that's the reason a lot of people aren't trying it.
Yeah, and you have to be passionate. It took years for us to get the first product. I said no to many products because, they weren't reliable, or it was someone's first grow and I wasn't confident they could do it again next year, things like that. But if you've got a passion for it, it's easy. That's 4 to 5 years it's been now. Has felt like 6 months, to be honest.
It's gone quick.
But then actually right back to that other question about our first patient, at the clinic, there's a funny story, that one. Someone actually tried to book into the clinic before it existed. Actually, a few people did. They said, how do I book in? I said, book into what?
Yeah.
I said, your clinic. I don't have a clinic. I said, well, hang on a minute. And quickly made a clinic. And then so Medicann Clinics was made. All telehealth to start with. Again, we didn't have the funds to do a brick and mortar.
Yep.
And so I just made an online clinic where the doctor calls them.
Okay. So you're able to get a doctor who is able to prescribe your medicine, and you're sort of and you're sort of facilitating that connection between a customer and that doctor.
Yeah, well, we made the actual clinic itself. Originally, I'd go around to other doctors in their own clinics and rep our products, and they prescribe our product medicines to their patients.
Okay.
But at that point in 2020, there was a lack of doctors prescribing, or the ones that were charging far too much.
Yep.
There was another clinic in Perth that was $600 before you got a script.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yep.
So that's why I felt the need to do what we did.
Yep.
We charged $99 for the consult, and then $49 for follow-ups. So yeah, literally one of the most affordable in the country. And then one of the only ones profiting, which confuses me, is to how I don't know how these other companies aren't profiting.
Yep.
We're very charitable at our place, and we're profiting still. So it's again, compassion I think is the bit, and low overheads. But yeah, so then I quickly made the clinic, and within the first day, it paid itself off with 10 patients. So it was
amazing.
I find ways to just get it done without needing to get into too much debt.
It's the startup founder way, mate. Well done. And so when did you realise, hey, we're on to something, this is getting serious?
Well, every week I actually get more and more like, wow, okay, it's every month we're just getting record months. The numbers we're getting now are, for me, are phenomenal. It's I remember the first kind of few months of business when we're getting numbers around saying, oh, you did 11 prescriptions this month. Amazing, how good is that? Now it's thousands, and again, we haven't had to do a whole lot. We haven't had to go and spend millions repping to doctors and doing all that typical kind of that approach. I think it's just being a genuine player and actually being helpful in the industry. I help a lot of people. I help other companies wouldn't know, but I rep their brands to doctors for them. Our products alone can't help everyone. So I'll teach doctors about every cannabis product that we know and trust. And then by being that genuine player that really does want to help the industry, I think it comes back later on over the years, and people coming to us, and that word of mouth helps a lot. So we don't have to really do much marketing to get patient numbers. And yeah, it's so far nice and lean like that. But the good bit is we're going through this capital raise now. We can really start to scale up, keep up with demand, and actually get some marketing and sales teams going. But I really want to stick to that really targeted spends, though. I think I'm not. I mean, one rep told me they spend $1,000 a week just on food for doctors. That's ridiculous. Well, I think
on
it's
food,
ridiculous.
Like just sending
on lunch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works, but I get given lunch from the doctors when I see them. So it's, so we'll stick with that strategy for now. But,
how does it feel looking back on starting with $50 that you turned into 500 at the casino, and now you're getting thousands of prescriptions?
No, it's great. Yeah. I pinch myself all the time. It's an interesting one. And only actually just as soon as yesterday after our raise went live and seeing what the public actually kind of think as well and getting acceptance there. It's a really good feeling. And even when we actually went to a symposium over in Queensland, United in Compassion Symposium, I took the whole team over there, and first time I guess we were over east, and I didn't know if they even knew we existed. But they all knew of us. They all actually heard of us, and lots of great feedback about us, which was amazing to hear. I was like, great, it's actually what I was hoping. Again, genuine passion, compassionate, all that kind of stuff. It was actually coming across, and people were seeing that, and so it feels amazing. I'm really proud of the team we've built and the amount of people we've been able to help so far.
Yeah, well done. Isn't it amazing when you just come at it from an angle of being helpful first? What other things come from that? You can't preempt what's going to happen, but if you just be helpful first, good things will happen.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've mentioned a couple of times you're running a crowdfunding campaign at the moment with Birchall, which is really gaining momentum. Birchall as a platform as well is becoming really popular for startups looking to raise money from the crowd. How does Birchall work? What's involved in that?
Yeah, so Birchall, crowdfunding service, and so they kind of host it all. They take their commission from the raise, provide all the legal support, things like that. Yep. And then, we make a movie that goes through the company in in 3 minutes, which was near impossible for me. I had it in an hour. And then you release the offer document. And so there's a 3-week expression of interest period that we've just completed and then opened up the raise yesterday. So we had around 950 people express their interest, which was good to see.
Wow.
And then, the raise opened yesterday. So we hopefully during this interview, we'll clock the 500 grand mark.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we're looking to raise a max of 2 mil. And really it's just to keep up with demand. the medicine side, it's really ramping up, and we just managed to kind of stay ahead of it last month. But yeah, we need to keep up with demand that we're already facing, and then probably close to the first $1 million will go to that. Anything more than $1 million, we can get some new product offerings, continue our clinical trials. So clinical trials are a big area for us for that future long-term growth. But yeah, exciting. Keep up with demand for the moment and get a bigger kitchen bench or an office maybe.
What would you say to other founders out there who are considering Birchal as a equity crowdfunding platform? What sort of things do they need to think about, and what's the sort of pitfalls or the upsides for them?
It's all been upsides for us so far. They've been great to work with. Really, really helpful and a really easy, streamlined process. I guess they've done it that many times now. They know what works.
Got it down to a fine art, don't they?
Exactly, yeah. And then even did their own raise through there recently too, so they could put it to the test themselves. Really, really streamlined. They suggested some people to help us with the offer document. We got a videographer on board, and for us, it was all done within a month, I believe. From
amazing.
Planning, and started to focus more on a video script rather than medical scripts, but I'm glad that's out of the way now. That's not my bread and butter. But they've been great to work with. Definitely recommend them.
There's been some really great success stories from, breweries and beer brands to gadgets and software and all sorts of things. It's great.
Yep.
What could possibly be next for the future?
So for us, clinical trials are big. So we're doing, I guess I'll explain it. So with medicinal cannabis, we're lucky we can actually be prescribing these medicines already, and they haven't gone through trials, and they're not actually registered. So normally, if I went to the government, the TGA, and said, I'd like to supply this medicine that I've invented, I'd say, good on you. We'll see you in 10 years' time when you've done the trials.
Yep.
With cannabis, they've gone, you know what, we understand it's safe, so you can prescribe it.
Okay.
It's called the Special Access Scheme. A little bit harder to get. The doctor can't just write the script instantly. There's a little bit of a process, which is early on why it used to be quite expensive, and it took months and months to get prescriptions. This is back in 2016. Streamlined it a lot more now. It's a lot better, but still, it's they're not registered medicines, so they're not on the PBS, which is the government subsidy making medicines $30. But luckily, we can actually still be providing the medicines, generate revenue whilst doing these trials on the side. And so we're focusing now at the moment on concussion. So we're partnered with Parent Institute and Curtin University, and we've finished our 2-year preclinical trial on concussion that actually had amazing results. All 4 formulas we tested, when you looked at the brain, it was as if it had never been concussed. So we got tissue samples and looked at inflammation within the brain, and it was actually in a better state than the unconcussed brain. So that was quite interesting.
Incredible.
And things like motor performance, so balance and things like that.
Yep. So who would be a patient for concussion type?
Well, there's 200,000 concussions in Australia every year.
Really?
And there's no treatment option.
Holy moly.
They get told to go home and rest. And as we know now with a lot of these things, Danny Frawley, things like that in the AFL, we're learning with CTE, these follow-on effects. So people might not get the symptoms down the track, the nausea, the migraines and that are gone. So they think, okay, it's all better now. But these follow-on effects down the road, anxiety, depression from CTE, it's a real thing. And we're really starting to trying to understand this a bit more now. So people have said, why am I doing concussion? There's no market. Well, I see it as there's 200,000 people every year without assistance, you need to help them. And I've seen the amazing results it can do with the follow-on symptoms, like I mentioned, with nausea, migraines, things like that. That's easy. My target is to aim is to give them the cannabinoids immediately after impact and prevent that damage occurring in the first place, so they won't have those symptoms down the track.
Yep.
Fascinating. So that 2-year trial went really well, and now it's just progressing onto the next human phases. But it is a bit of capital required, so that's what this raises for as well. But that's by having a registered medicine, it'd be on the PBS, government subsidies, affordable for all Australians, and then licensing licensing opportunities globally.
Amazing. What's one big piece of advice you have for founders who might be just starting out, or have a passion and they want to turn into a business and they're looking to grow?
Stick with it. That's the. I haven't done any business courses or anything like that. It was as I said earlier, just a diver. So there's not much chatting or business talks going on under there. But for me, it was just being my passion. I think that's the most important thing. Everything else is kind of easy. Then all the hurdles, all the hard times. Well, you know why you're doing it. You know why you're pushing through it, because you're passionate about it. You've seen the end result. So for me, it's just sticking to your guns. And if you really want to do it, you'll find a way. Yeah. And I actually kind of now get excited when challenges come, because that's the time we can prove to ourselves that we're meant to be here. I guess if it was really easy, everyone would be doing it. And so it's when the hurdles come, it's how we navigate those that can make these hobbies, I guess, into an actual career. But just my only bit of advice is stick with it. That's all I've done.
Yeah. What is the hardest thing you've had to deal with and stick with it through?
A lot of the regulatory change is always every other month. It's tricky to keep up.
Yeah.
But the good bit is we're getting invited into Parliament to speak about these things and help them with these, help them frame the changes. So that's one good thing about a new industry, but can get a bit confusing at time with grey areas. I hate working within grey areas. I want to be able to put a billboard on Canning Highway and scream to the world what we're doing.
Yep.
So there's a few grey areas a lot of other companies are happy to deal in, and I just stay away from it. I just keep the blinkers on, but
so the regulatory government side of things, and it makes sense in your industry. It's always in flux, I suppose. Yeah, and
but going through Corona and that whole time has been all those challenges that everyone's faced, I guess. But it's kind of helped us in a way with telehealth. Telehealth,
right?
That became a lot more popular. We didn't do telehealth for any strategy other than because anything we could afford.
Yeah,
and then, things like
but now it's broken the ice. A lot of people have experienced it and seeing their doctor on Zoom or whatever.
Exactly,
it's normal now.
More normalised, so it's perfect, and so we can access patients Australia wide. And with the pet side of things too, everyone was at home with their pets more during that period, so they saw that they had anxiety or had inflammation. So it actually kind of helped some of our businesses, but a few issues in the back end. But again, it's like everyone, you just find a way to get through it and remember the core focus.
So we're getting to the end of the episode, but something we always do on Weird Growth is little show and tell time, and we ask people what their favourite tool or device or toy is in their life. I believe you've got something a little bit more relevant to Medicann that you brought along to show us.
Thought the show and tell was show and tell our products. And
well, let's do it anyway. Bring it on.
So some of our things we can't show the medicine side, obviously. It would be considered advertising and whatnot. But the Hemp Brothers and Endoscent side, things like our foods and whatnot.
Yeah,
I guess it does also help me get through things, good nutrition and whatnot. But things like there's the hemp seeds, hemp protein powder, things like that.
Okay. So what do you do with these?
So they're food. So you'd be making, your protein shakes or smoothies with your protein powder. Hemp seed. So it's literally just, the hemp seed full of your omega-3, 6, 9, really good for nutrition.
Okay. But it's not going to give you a buzz or...
No cannabinoids. So with cannabis and hemp, you've got a female plant. If you just let it grow without any males, it'll grow a flower. That's got your cannabinoids, terpenes, and actually medicine from the buds.
Yep.
If you let a male plant pollinate that female, it'll produce seeds. And then with that seed, like any other seed, you can do a cold press and get your hemp seed oil. We can eat the seed like this, things like that. They're just all those kind of over-counter offerings. Capsules, that helps me every day with my inflammation. Body balms, hemp, on anything, you chuck hemp in it and it's better. And then the terpene products. So these are actually the terpenes, which is the aromatic compounds of plants, the smells of plants. So you've got lavender has a terpene called linalool that can be calming. And then cannabis has all these terpenes too, and that's what creates those different effects. And so we actually then, through our Israeli partner, made just over-the-counter terpene products for things like pain, sleep, anxiety, memory, things like that. So it's... these all get me through my days, but in terms of tools for the business and whatnot, it all comes back down to passion, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You've got to find something you want to do and you love.
Yeah, that's awesome, Matt.
And good people around you.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you for showing us those. And so obviously the other thing we asked for is a final plug and, what's your ask? So what if anyone's out there is listening, interested in getting involved in either the Birchal campaign or as a customer, what should they do?
Yeah, so if they're interested in getting on board the Birchal raise, they can either contact us or me at matt@medicannhealth.com.au, or they go to our website, they'll see some links on there as well. And same deal if they want to chat to me about anything medicinal cannabis, getting on board the company, or if their doctor wants to learn how to prescribe, get in touch, I'm happy to help. If you want to start your own cannabis company, I really am here to help. So reach out and we'll have some fun.
Brilliant, no worries. Well, I'm just going to go a little shot of that. So, that ends this episode of, what is it, Danzel's Direct? Danos
Direct.
Danos Direct,
sick and tired of your hemp seeds?
Order now, you get a free bit of uplift Endoscent. I don't know what that means. Thanks, Matt. Perfect. Well, thanks very much for listening to Weird Growth. Thank you, Matt, for coming on, mate. That was a real education for me, and I'm sure for a lot of our listeners, a really fascinating space with massive potential for growth, and I'm really excited to see what you're doing. So thank you. Congratulations on what you've done so far.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening to Weird Growth. If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. Tell your friends. But yeah, Weird Growth's brought to you by Ammo Marketing, and I'm Cam Sinclair. Until next episode, bye-bye.